This podcast is brought to you in part by Coke, Am First, Buffalo Wild Wings, Southern Immediate Care, Central State Bank, and Guaranteed Labels.
Hey, it's Bubba, hey, Bubba, Bubba on the lake. This is Bubba, hey, Bubba, Bubba on the lake. Yeah, he's got it going on. Gotta come and check this. Talking people, talking places from Bubba's perspective. This is Bubba, hey, Bubba on the lake. Hey, Bubba, yeah, Bubba on the lake. Let's go.
Hello again, and welcome back, everybody, to Bubba on the Lake. It's episode 3, and boy, we got a busy show for you this time. A lot going on. We're going to visit with my daughter, Caitlyn Bussey. She's going to make her appearance, and you do not want to miss that high-energy interview. Also, Ryan Brown will be joining us from the next round. Ryan's a longtime friend, and he is quite the sports expert, and we talked a little bit about March Madness and the big NCAA tournament. We have a lot going on. If you've not checked the website out in a while, you need to go by. We actually have a contest going on right now that ties in to March Madness. It is the Tournament Challenge. We're asking for one entry per person. All the rules are explained there. If you go to bubbaonthelake.com, hit the contest button. And, of course, we're having our bracket competition like everybody else. But one of the things that I want to mention about this, we are also going to start Bubba's Contest Hall of Fame. That is, if you win one of our big contests, you will go into Bubba's Contest Hall of Fame. You will be enshrined, and you will be on the website for hithermore. So forever and ever, you can show your friends, hey, I made Bubba's Contest Hall of Fame. We'll tell you more about that as we go along. Check that out on the website. As always, follow us on social media, subscribe, click, push, all that stuff. I love how we have to push all that nowadays. But we do appreciate you being here and being part of this podcast because we're having fun, and we hope you are too. We'll be right back. We're going to start this show, and it's very busy, so strap in and get ready for a little bit of fun. We'll be back right after this.
Where's Bubba?
I'll tell you where. He's on the lake.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
When you need urgent care, Southern Immediate Care is here for you. Illness doesn't follow a 9-to-5 schedule, so we offer support 7 days a week at convenient locations throughout Birmingham and Northeast Alabama, dedicated to serving all ages from children to adults. Southern Immediate Care offers occupational medicine services, including DOT physicals and testing. At Southern Immediate Care, your health is our top priority. Visit southernimmediatecare.com or call 205-409-2794.
At Central State Bank, we believe community banking is more than just transactions. It's about relationships. For over 100 years, we've been helping neighbors grow, businesses thrive, and dreams become reality. Because when you bank local, you invest in your community. Central State Bank, large enough to serve you, small enough to know you. Visit us today or learn more at centralstatebank.com. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Bubba on the Lake.
Hit me bad.
A production of Intergalactic Pants and Tees.
All right, folks, we're back. Welcome back to Bubba on the Lake, and we have been reintroducing our family. Betty, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, whatever it may be. It's morning here.
That's right. It's a non-timed segment, so it could be any time of the day. But thank you for joining me again for this segment. I know you're very busy here around the house.
Oh, yeah. We survived tornadoes last night, so everybody's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning, I tell you what.
You know, it is strange how clear and pretty it is the day after you have such storms, isn't it? Well, we are reintroducing our family, and this brings us to our daughter, or as we like to call her, our spirited child, Caitlyn Bussey. Caitlyn, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
We're great. Thank you for being on the podcast. I know you're very busy. You were very hard to run down.
Yes. Well, I've told you my availability, and you just completely bypassed it and said be here. So
Well,
I'm here.
You know, production schedules. You have to focus on that. So tell everybody where you're working right now. Let's just get caught up.
Okay, I'm at the Business Council of Alabama. I do their communications and events, and it's a lot of fun. I'm in Montgomery. It's a little different than D.C., but yeah, BCA is a nonprofit member-based advocacy group. We advocate for pro-business policies in the state and federal legislature.
Well, somebody has to.
Exactly.
Because everybody else has got somebody lobbying for them, you know? So I'm glad y'all are there.
Me too. Got to keep Alabama growing, you know?
That's right. Keep the doors open. Hey, keep the open for business sign out there. But you did work in D.C. for many years at the Capitol. I feel like you missed D.C. a little bit.
I miss DC a lot. I mean, it was such a cool job. I don't think I realized how cool it was until I left and I was placed in Montgomery, Alabama, which I know I like to crap on Montgomery a lot. It's gotten better since session started because there's actually like people who like want to go to dinner and stuff like that.
No, your terminology, you crap on Montgomery. Is that what you said?
Well, I was told I can't cuss, so I'm trying to keep it PG.
We have that beep, you know.
Well, it's just different. You grew up in Birmingham.
Yeah.
You worked in D.C., so Montgomery is the smallest city you've ever lived in. And I know that sounds strange to a lot of people who've never lived in a big city.
No, it is really weird. But it's a sweet town. Like, I feel like everyone who is there likes it for the most part. But
what was it about D.C. you liked
there.
so much? Because as parents, us sitting and watching D.C. on TV, all we ever hear is murders and killings.
Dad, I'm going to be
and
so
all that
blunt
stuff.
with you. We grew up
Plane
in Birmingham.
crashes, all that, you know.
Birmingham is super dangerous. Montgomery, I've never felt less safe than living in Montgomery. And D.C., I mean, there's cops everywhere you look. And I lived close enough to where I was in the Capitol Police jurisdiction also, so that was fine. I never felt unsafe in D.C. There are parts not to go to.
Sure,
like
everywhere. You can say that.
Birmingham and Montgomery. Like, it's the same. It's everywhere is like that. So I didn't never feel really scared.
There's places in Eclectic you don't want to go.
Yeah, sure. I love DC, though. It was just fun. There was always something to do. Y'all know me. I'm always go, 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 go. I feel like I have to be constantly stimulated or I just get bored. So I loved it.
Are you overstimulated by chance?
No, I
think it's your generation. Y'all have to be stimulated or overstimulated or whatever. Yeah, I think so.
All right, well.
I don't know.
I loved it. It was so fun.
That town is really run by young people.
City. Yeah, oh my God. The Hill, I think the oldest person I really ever worked with besides like the members of Congress was like 37. It's crazy.
I think that's what you missed too when you moved to Montgomery. There wasn't a lot of young people
there are.
right at first
I have
that you
two
got to know.
coworkers that are younger, like in their later 20s. But in my mind, everyone's the same age, I guess. I don't know why I think like that, but
Well, we're not.
not y'all for sure. Y'all
especially the way I'm feeling.
But everyone I work with, I'm like, oh yeah, we're the same age, and like someone's like 35, and I'm like, never mind, we're not the same age.
So you told me that as you are a young adult and you're learning to live and manage your affairs on your own, that you're struggling with some budget issues from time to time.
I got to
like just every day and weekends.
I got to thinking about this. I think it's been a problem since forever, and I think it might be hereditary. And I would love someone to do a study on it because our bookkeeper here for Bubba on the Lake, Miss Betty Lou, is also horrible with money. So I do expect all of us to be in prison by the end of quarter two, probably. But
I knew somehow I would get thrown under the bus for this. Somehow.
No, Mom is to blame. And I want to reference the 2014 shopping trip in Fairhope where all credit cards were closed down.
The 2014 debacle, yeah. Fairhope
the tennis
debacle.
bracelet was lost. I mean, it was we came into Fairhope with I don't know how much money, but we definitely left with a lot
in the hole.
less.
I know you left about $7,000 in the hole. I know for a fact.
Me and Mom together is pretty dangerous.
Well, your
Deja
mother,
vu, people. Deja vu. Wasn't that the story?
Yeah, that was a store.
your mom
bracelets back.
has long considered budget to be a 4-letter word.
I agree. It's terrifying.
But I think y'all are looking at it wrong. I think it's a freeing.
See, I've heard it all because
if I know I budget and I'm in my budget, then I have money left over, or I have money to use for what I need to use. I don't see it as handcuffs. I see it as a fortress that I'm living in that protects me from getting into financial trouble, and then I can enjoy my life inside the walls.
I know that's probably the correct answer, but this is how I budget. So I pay all my bills so I don't get evicted, anything repossessed, or, things like that. And then whatever is left, that's what I got to, and my foot doesn't come off the gas until it's 000.
Caitlyn.
I know. I'm well aware that is a horrible plan.
Yeah, but, Caitlyn, I would say worse than horrible. I would say terrible.
Okay, but
I would say atrocious.
Dave Ramsey
would
just
so much fun though.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey somewhere just grabbed his heart.
Yeah.
Somewhere
I took
in
Financial
Nashville.
Peace University, and I didn't feel like it applied to me. I'm being honest. It was for people who were in like several hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, which granted, if I don't change my ways,
You're
I
going
might
to
be
be
headed there. But I'm not there. So
I
let's focus on the positives.
I think you
have a
read
lot
that
of fun. Well, he was talking about stuff I don't even know what that is. Like, and I was just trying to get out of college and go to DC, and he's talking about IRAs and 401k, and I mean,
So I see it stuck with you.
I have a notes folder. I have my father's daughter. I took notes, but
You do want to retire one day, right?
Yeah, for sure. Probably really soon.
So you probably now
at the ripe age of 26.
I've always sensed that you were a little jealous of your mother's setup.
I'm extreme. Mom has the most coveted job in the world, and I think anyone would agree with that. My favorite thing
I knew
ever.
I'd be thrown under the bus.
No,
y'all, this is my life.
This is not me throwing you under the bus. I applaud.
I think
your
that's
hustle.
what she's talking about.
Mom, I'll be busy at work. She'll call me. Hey, what are you doing? Typing. Busy. Like, what's up, Mom? Is it an emergency? Is someone hurt, sick, dead? What's going on? No, I'm just sitting here with the dogs. Just made a sandwich. Just got back from workout class. I think me and the girls are going to go to the club and get a glass of wine, maybe.
No. I do not call up and say stuff like that.
We might get on the boat later. I don't know. And I'm like, all right, Mom, cool. That's awesome. I'm sitting here being a corporate slave, and I'm jealous. That's how I feel.
Okay. I worked since I was probably 15 years old.
I know. That's what I said. I applaud your hustle. Like, you put in the grunt work until you were what? 30
something. I don't know. 30.
That's my plan.
Hunter was 7 months old because I had a maternity leave till he was 3, and then I worked 3 or 4 months. I don't remember. I think he was 6 or 7 months old.
Well, we decided the day your maternity leave was over is when we decided you were going to leave your job.
Yeah, but I worked for a little while till we figured it out, though. Yeah.
We took
Which was
Hunter.
fun, folks, doing home health and being on call with a baby. That was a mess.
We took
But
Hunter
anyway.
to the daycare that our church offered. And
which was great. They did a great job.
And
But,
I think you
know.
dropped him off, and you called me and was talking about how hard it was. And and we had good people that worked at our church in that. I mean, I wasn't concerned for him at all.
No.
But I thought, I just want me and you to be there for the first words and steps and all that. And I come back. I was supposed to pick him up that day. I got a speeding ticket. And when we got home, we just built our house in Jacksonville on the golf course, and we had slaved to build that house. Did a lot of the work ourselves, the only way we could do it. So I remember us sitting down. I said, Betty, I don't care if we have to sell this. We have to, live in a camper or whatever. I want you to take care of that baby and any future babies. And you were more than willing to do that. And so that's it ended right after that. You had to work your notice out. But I'm glad you got to stay home with the kids.
I think that there's like no better feeling than coming home from school and like your mom being home, or like you picking us up from school every day. Like, we always look forward to that.
Well,
she got the skinny on like what went down at school, and like then by the time we get home, Dad's like, "How's your day? Good, good." Like, running off to do something else. It's like mom got the rundown.
Oh yeah.
So
good, bad, and ugly.
I know everybody can't do that, but I think everybody's situation is different. But I think for us, it was by far the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to do that, which is fine. I mean, I understand that too.
No,
if you kind of get in your groove with your...
Now, the flip side of that is Dad has to go out and work himself to death, and he dies a lot younger than everybody else.
Oh, the drama.
But other than that...
he's out busting rocks.
So, Caitlyn, you have... Let's get back to your financial troubles.
No, well, my closing remarks on that is... It probably isn't going to get better like anytime soon because I really am trying. And what happens is I pay all my bills and then I have no money left. So I'm just kind of like, well,
I think
my budget.
No,
like,
I think you're going to have to really budget how much you spend for food, how much you spend for clothes, gas. You're going to have to really break it down till you get a handle on it. Then you won't have to ride it so hard. But you can rob from Peter to pay Paul, but you got to know that Peter doesn't have as much as he used to have. So you can move money around for your needs for that month, but you still got to stay within the big budget. And this is the thing with you. You like to travel.
I've cut back exponentially. I used to be on an airplane once or twice a month. I have not been in an airplane in a hot minute.
Well, you were trying to convince me that it didn't cost you anything to go anywhere, which was the
Dad,
funniest one of all.
Sometimes you got to tell a little white lie to get you off my back. You are relentless sometimes.
That is not a little white lie. That is a bold face.
Her nose is growing as we speak.
But Dad, you act
I love it. She would look at me and say, well, it didn't cost me anything to go to Dallas. And I'd go, Caitlyn, I'm not dumb.
Well, in my mind, if I paid for it like a few months before.
Come up with a better story. If you're going to cover it, that one wasn't a good one.
Anyway, and I feel like it's not, you think I'm going on these 5-star like luxury vacations. Dad, I'm flying Spirit Airlines. You've got to pay for your seatbelt. You got to pay for airtime. If you want the plane to land safely, you got an extra $50 charge on there. But like, it's not glamorous. Like I'm making 6 stops just to get somewhere.
Well, I'm just judging it on the
away.
pictures that I'm seeing that you're posting online of the places y'all go to eat.
Instagram
and all
is
that.
not reality.
Yeah, I was about to say social media does not always tell the story.
I think in this case it is. Because I offered to help you out and you wouldn't let me see your credit card bill. So I figured that was the beginning of...
No, that's not true. I would gladly show it to you if I didn't think it would kill you. And I really... none of us can afford for you to die yet. So I think we're just, we're good. I'll be fine.
So
I think in May will be a lot better for me.
You have nicknamed this time of year what?
The no fun spring of 2025.
No
because
fun.
I haven't been in an airplane.
But you travel all over the country to see your friends who are having birthdays.
Yeah.
I have friends all over the country that have birthdays. I just can't afford to fly to see them. It's not in my budget.
I think when you graduate from college, you really have to make an effort to like keep those friendships intact. Rather, it's like, hey, we're going to check in once a week, once a month, whatever. It's hard. Like everyone has their own lives. Everyone's living in a different city. And I live in Montgomery, Alabama. How many people do you think are dying to get on a plane and come there? Not a lot. And let me just go ahead and preface. It's
Caitlyn,
not,
you seem down on Montgomery today.
It's
I
not
don't know
an
why
easy
you're
flight
doing that
either. Like it's not just like, hey, like
I love Montgomery.
Guys, there's a straight shot from New York City. There's not a LaGuardia to MGM flight. So they've got to stop at all these places. And I'm just like, you know what, guys, I'll just come to New York. That's easier for everyone,
Sacrifice and go to New York or New
I'm
Orleans,
where it's free. The whole trip's free.
The trip's free. Why wouldn't you go there?
Yeah, the restaurants are free. The hotel's free. The Ubers are free.
I don't stay in a hotel. That is also a thing. Everywhere I'm traveling, I know someone who lives there, so I have a free place to stay. That helps a lot. You're looking at me like
you've got a budget because you make more money than I do now. Beep.
Yeah, thanks, Rick.
Oh, Lordy.
I'm sure we'll have to cut that one out. But, I mean, Rick and Bubba ending was tough on us all. No more house, no more allowance for me or Mom. It was humbling, to say the least.
Yeah, it was for all of us. Well, Caitlyn, thank you. Anything else you want to share with everybody that you haven't already destroyed? jobs or cities or how about because
Destroyed.
this is what's going to happen, and I know I'm going to get the email, so I'm just going to pose this question to you. You can answer it how you want to.
Okay.
Do you have a boyfriend?
I do not. I think, at the age I'm at and where I'm at, the dating scene in Montgomery, once again, not to be so down on the gump, but it is not glamorous. So I've broadened my horizons a little bit. We'll see. I have some things in the works, maybe.
How about eclectic?
Time will tell. I'm, not interested in eclectic.
Why? This is a nice area.
This is the thing also with dating. I can't tell y'all anything or everybody knows.
Oh, good grief.
Like, it's not even a question. Like, I don't know. Mom,
I'm
really
thrown under the bus.
But
Boy,
Mom,
it's
you're
been a tough
guilty on
segment
all
for you,
counts.
honey. Yeah.
Golly. I tell you what.
Mom.
Wait till I get to give y'all the dish on everybody
No,
else.
I love that Mom is so excited, though, about it. Like, she's so
Is
thrilled.
Caitlyn giving you the business?
She's giving me the business, y'all.
Me and Mom always give each other the business, but we're like best friends. It's fun. I feel like I'm hanging out with myself in like 20 years.
Probably are.
I hope.
There are some similarities, but there's a lot of differences.
I know. You and I are scarily similar, and that's
Yes.
what's really, it makes me fear for my
No,
life.
I think I don't know that we're alike in the way we think about everything because of the budgeting deal.
No, I think obviously you're more mature than me, but that goes to show you are 60 something and I'm 20 something. But I think that you and I are very aligned on our train of thought, like the way we think through things. Like we're very.
Now I'm worried.
No, we're very. I don't know the word.
I think physically, because usually if I'm sick,
What do
you're
you-
sick.
Dad, I don't really want you to tell me that physically we are the same.
Well, no,
offense.
I don't
I'm a
mean the way we
25-year-old
look.
woman and you are
No, I don't.
65-year-old
No,
man.
no, I don't mean that. But you have always, if we ever got around something and one of us got sick, the other one always did.
Yes, I feel like we are always like that. Mom, I feel like is never sick, but when you're sick, we're going to the ER.
She's got that
which is
Walker
a great
immune
story
Thing I
system.
did right.
that
y'all.
we can't probably
I
talk
don't get
about.
sick.
She's used to playing in the dirt. She got better immune system.
I did. Yeah. There's no telling.
Not until she
man.
has those hypoglycemic episodes.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
we're all screwed.
Well,
That's
she's better. You ain't
I
had
know,
one in
I
a
have
while,
not.
have you?
Yeah, knock on wood, folks. Yep.
The
You
last
had one a
bad
few months ago.
Can we talk about that? Is that allowed?
What?
About what?
Mom's episode she had
What?
when you were spraying her with dead downwind.
Oh. I was sick.
Yeah, she was sick.
Okay.
She had the flu or
Bill
something.
No,
Bubba Bussy
no.
is not known for his
tolerance.
yes,
he can't
his.
handle throw up or anything
Oh my
like
God!
that.
You can't even. I mean, the
Didn't
dog
change
will
any
poop in the
diapers, I
house,
don't
and I mean,
think.
leave the area. Might as well leave
No,
there.
But you're very sensitive to like smells and sounds, I would say.
no, I'm more sensitive
Y'all.
to throw up than anything.
Listen,
I can see a
was-
baby being born. I can go in surgery. I can see deers clean. None of that bothers me. When I see anybody, human or animal, throwing up, I help them out. Okay,
Yeah.
and it is immediate. There not a
Okay.
discussion about it.
the night that Caitlyn has referred to, it was probably the sickest I've ever been. I had to go to the
I
hospital.
thought I
y'all.
was in trouble. I sat in my car for like
Caitlyn
30
was on
minutes.
a date and had to leave her date and come home to help Bill. And she comes into him spraying me with dead downwind.
No, let me run it back a little bit. So
She's
I get
going
a
to have
call-
her own version.
I get a call and Dad's like, "Come home immediately," and I'm like, "Crap." Like, I've got to sit here and like go through my phone, delete some stuff, and then like change some passwords. Like, and I sat in the Lee Branch parking lot. I'll never forget it for like 30 minutes and was just like moving some stuff around. And I get home, I'm like, "What's going on?" Like, "Hey, Dad, I love you. What's up?"
Meanwhile,
He's got a whole cloth over his face. Come on, come to the bathroom, come to the bathroom. And he's like, "Also grab some Lysol, Febreze, anything you can get your hands on." And I'm like, "What? Like, what's going on?" Mom's laying in the floor.
She does that when
Naked.
she gets hypoglycemia.
And I'm like,
I didn't leave her there.
immediately, I just felt so awful for her. I've never seen my mom like that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, "Dad, what are you doing? Your wife is on the floor naked. She's thrown up everywhere and some other things have gone on." And and Dad's gagging. He's like, he's like, can you please pick it up, clean it up. And he's like, should we call an ambulance? And I'm like, Dad, like, you're being so drama. Like, let's just clean her up, get her in some pajamas, get this girl a Pedialyte and put her in bed. Like, she'll be all right. She was not all right.
No.
I put her clothes on, which she actually bitched at me for picking out the wrong pair of underwear.
Well, no underwear. That was the thing. No underwear.
Mom, I'm sorry. I was panicked. Dad was like also throwing up.
I had on leopard.
And I was 16.
I had on leopard pants and some Briarwood.
They were really comfortable
t-shirt.
pajamas.
I don't
and I was
know.
like, she doesn't need any panties. She's fine. She's going to the hospital. That's just another layer for them to take off anyway.
Second only to the Oscar Mayer Wiener t-shirt I wore.
I'm sorry.
To the ER one time a few years before. And I was so out of it, but all I could hear was the people in the ER singing, "Oh, I wished I was an Oscar Mayer Wiener."
Because the words were on the shirt.
Because the words were on the shirt. I'm like, crap. But anyway.
We, Mom's laying on the floor, Dad's gagging, and here I am, 16, like, all right, what are we doing here? So I'm like, Mom, I get Mom up. I'm like, hey, you know how your husband is with these kind of things. We're just going to go ahead and call 911.
If you'd just been bleeding, I'd have been fine.
So we called 911. Dad is like, hey, my wife is and can you please get the ambulance to 360 Highland no sirens, no lights, just the car. And they're like, is it an emergency? And he's like, yes, hurry.
So wait a minute. Let me go back. I told your mom I was going to call the ambulance. She said, don't do that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, as long as you can communicate to me, I won't call the ambulance. Mm-hmm. But then I asked her how she was, and she went, and I went, okay, dial them up.
That was a really interesting moment for me because I think that's the first time it clicked in my head, like, wedding vows for better or for worse. I was like, that's humiliating. Like, I don't want to be in front of anyone I'm dating, like, naked on the floor with,
Well, I didn't either, but I didn't have a choice. I got sick.
I know, but I was like, wow. That's interesting. I'm glad you still find Mom attractive. Like that was y'all. I mean, a little too much, might I add. Y'all have really gotten used to the empty nester thing. I fear, which I'm happy for y'all now. I used to think it was disgusting, but I hope I'm like that when I'm like y'all's age.
Good grief!
You mean we love each other? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all are very sweet and verbal.
Thank you.
And vocal about it.
Okay. No, we're not.
Yes, y'all are.
I am. She doesn't say a lot.
Yeah, she keeps it on the phone.
No.
Well, Caitlyn,
that's next podcast. Yeah.
Caitlyn, it has been so good to see you. I'm sorry you got to run along and pick somebody up, but thank you for sitting down with us on this extended segment as we reintroduce our spirited child, and I think you see why we say that now, Caitlyn Bussey.
Gotta give the people what they want,
Oh, yeah. Well, you've certainly done that. Our cup is running over here. Matter of fact, it's on the floor. We're going to need a mop.
All right. I'll be back soon, y'all. Don't worry.
Thank you. And
I love y'all.
And we, too, will be right back.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
You know one thing I love about Buffalo Wild Wings? You can get wings with any of their 26 sauces and dry rubs for takeout and delivery. That's like bringing an entire B-dubs home with you, which you can't do. I tried. I've knocked down so many walls, only to then be told to halt construction because I'm not zoned to be a sports bar. Kind of just looks like a big pergola or something because of the lack of walls. At least these 26 sauces and dry rubs are available to go. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
The perfect checking account does not exist. At least not at a bank. At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. That's what you'll find at AmFirst. Only available for qualifying members. AmFirst is federally insured by the NCUA.
You're listening to Bubba. Whoa. Bubba on the Lake.
Folks, we're back, and we have a very special guest on the line with us, Ryan Brown, longtime friend, also a fellow broadcaster in a past life. And, Ryan, we've got a lot to talk about with the NCAA tournament going on, but I want to say right here up front, you guys, you and Jim and LT, you do a podcast called The Next Round. And you guys are trendsetters, and I've told you this. I admire what you guys are doing. I think it's so cool, and we all end up getting booted out of the broadcast business at some point, right? So, yeah. But you guys have really, really took lemons and made lemonade with it, and I am very, very proud of you guys.
Well, that means a lot coming from you. We were at WJOX for a very long time, and that is a tremendous station. I have nothing but good things to say about that station. And, we did Sports Talk in Birmingham the last 3 years, head to head, with your show in the mornings, which I didn't particularly care for because I liked listening to you guys. As you know, I would text you often on my way in before we moved to mornings.
Yeah.
But yeah, we rolled the dice and bet on ourselves and left radio and started our own thing, and it has gone very well, and we're enjoying it, and the Lord's been good to us and blessed us, and I am very appreciative of everything we've got and what we've been able to accomplish, but there's still a long way to go. We're still building and still in the infancy. We're still infants.
Yeah, that's hard to say. I know. That's a tough one. I mean, you're doing an imitation of me there. Can't spit it out. I have that all the time. Woodchuck disease, we call it.
But you know how we feel about you. You've always been a great friend, and we go back a long way. I was thinking about it coming home before we did this. We were at Jacksonville. You were at Jacksonville a little bit before me. And then moved on. We worked in radio at the same company for a little bit. Then you moved on. We lived in the same neighborhood. Then you moved on.
Or got kicked really out, one or the other,
I started to think you don't like me, Bubba. Keep moving on.
Well, Ryan, listen, I would love for you and your beautiful wife to come visit us on the lake anytime you would like to. And, of course, I don't know LT as good as I know you and Jim, but we've got to know him better. And like I said, I'm just so impressed with what you guys are doing, and you're trendsetters. You're setting, new marks about how we can go about serving the public and entertaining them, and we're very excited for you guys. So, Ryan, I did want to get you on because you're an expert in sports. And it is the sportsman's time of year with everything going on. The NCAA tournament, we've got NIT, we've got pro basketball, we've got baseball. I mean, if you love sports, this is your time of the year.
Oh, no doubt. I would say, Bubba, I love football. I'm a big football fan. So, September, October, that is just so much fun. But it is hard to beat the month, from mid-March to mid-April when you get the college, the conference tournaments, and then the NCAA tournament. Major League Baseball will have opening day here in just a few days. The Masters, if you're a big golfer, which I am, I love the Masters. I mean, you get those just boom, 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 boom. That is so much fun this time of year. And it's hard to beat the entertainment of the NCAA tournament. It seems like it delivers every single year.
Yeah, there's always the upsets. There's always the the buzzer beater finishes. There's always the controversial calls. There's always, all the fun stuff that makes it. And Ryan, I've got to say this too. I know I'm getting a little out of order here before we dive completely into the NCAA tournament, but the NIT tournament is also going on, and our alma mater, Jack State, just defeated the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets on their home court in really a game that was the Gamecocks led from start to finish. Ended up winning 81-64. It was the 600th win for Coach Ray Harper, and wow, what a big win for him to have.
Yeah, to play a team like Georgia Tech in a postseason tournament. I was watching Jack State play Liberty the other night in the Conference USA Championship, where had they won that game, they would have gone to the NCAA tournament. Instead, Liberty won and went. I was sitting right here in my basement where I'm talking to you because we were we were in the Polygon, as James says.
Yes, we were.
Our neighborhood was at the Polygon, so we moved down to the basement where I've got my TV set up here for my sports viewing. So I had the weather on one TV and Jack State was playing Liberty on the other one. So I hated they didn't make the NCAA tournament. But listen, if you got to go to the NIT, make the best of it, and they've started out well, obviously.
Yeah, we're very proud of them. And disclaimer, I think most everybody knows I actually work at Jack State in the athletic department. I'm an assistant athletic director there, so I know how big this win is for that program. And it's amazing. We both grew up watching that program and had some great.
He's a legend.
Yeah, oh yeah, had some great teams and won a national championship Division II and. Was always very competitive, but, I just never in my wildest dreams pictured going to Georgia Tech, a big ACC school, and beating them badly on their own floor.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you what Ray Harper's done. Guy's a tremendous coach. You mentioned 600 wins. He's been doing, you don't get 600 wins by doing it a long time. He's been doing it a long time, but he's been doing it very well for a long time, and Jack State's lucky to have him.
Yes, they are, and I hope we can hang on to him for a long, long time. Well, Ryan, let's talk about the big dance. The seedings came out. We're about to start playing here in a day or two, some of the play-in rounds. Any surprises or shocks so far that just stand out at you?
There's always surprises in seeding. Like a lot of times you look at a team where they're seated and you wonder what was the committee looking at. One of those would be, for instance, by the way, it's in Auburn's part of the bracket is 5 seed Michigan. That's a team that's played right at the top of the Big Ten all year long. One of the top 3 conferences in the game. The SEC was the best conference all year, but the Big 12 and the Big Ten were probably the next 2. Michigan plays right at the top of that conference all year long. They end up being a 5 seed. And that would be a difficult draw for anyone as a 5 seed. And so I think when you start looking at that, VCU is another good example. VCU won their conference Sunday in their conference tournament, but they get an 11 seed, and their reward for winning their conference tournament, Bubba, is they have to fly from Richmond. They play Sunday in their conference championship. They're a Thursday tip-off in the NCAA tournament. They have to fly all the way to Denver from Richmond and play BYU, who's a 6 seed, so they should get a little bit of an advantage. But you have to go play an altitude game in Denver against BYU, who's accustomed to that. So sometimes you look at the seeding, you're like, what in the world's going on? I'll give you another good example. Colorado State plays Memphis. That's a 5-12 game. Memphis is the 5 seed. Colorado State is the 12 seed. And Colorado State is actually the favorite in Vegas to win this game. You almost never see that in a 5-12 matchup where the 12 seed is actually favored that heavily over a 5 seed.
Are you surprised at Auburn being the number 1 seed for the whole tournament?
I was not, because recently the committee has made great efforts to judge based on the season as a whole. So, for years they would put a heavy emphasis on the last 10 games. The thinking being that if you're hot going into the tournament, you'll be a better team in the tournament. And what happened was the statistics just didn't back that up. Like, they did a study and said, okay, are the teams that are the best over the last 10 games, did they perform better than other teams in the tournament? They really didn't. So they decided, okay, well, then we're going to quit rewarding teams for being really good in their last 10 games, and we're just going to try to take a season as a whole. A lot of us as fans put a great deal of emphasis on the conference tournaments, but the committee really has not historically. So, I think sometime, in late February, maybe it was when Auburn clinched the SEC regular season, they probably locked down that overall number 1 seed over Duke. I think if you think the SEC is the best league we've seen in 20 years, 30 years, maybe all time, and they got 14 teams in, so that shows that the committee thought that, then you should say, well, all right, the champion of that league really ought to be the overall number 1 seed.
The SEC has transformed itself from just a football-heavy conference to now being very good at basketball and, record-setting at basketball. They're very good at baseball. They're good at other sports. I think, and you'll probably agree with me, Ryan, that didn't come about by accident. There was some planning in that from the league office, and they have really, really worked to get good coaches, good facilities, and now good recruits to SEC schools.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It goes all the way back to the late Mike Slive when he was the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference. He challenged the schools to get better at basketball. For years you had Kentucky and everybody else. And then Florida decided, we'll invest in it. They did with Billy Donovan, and they got good and won national championships. And Mike Slive, challenged everyone to do that. He retired. Greg Sankey took over, and he took the challenge to the next level. Now, a lot of it is the TV money, and that most of that's generated by football. We all understand that. But when these schools have this kind of TV money, they can afford to pay Bruce Pearl, $8 million a year. They can afford to pay Nate Oates at Alabama $8 million a year. You could pay John Calipari at Arkansas $10 million a year to try to revive Arkansas basketball. I mean, it's not too long ago that a good SEC basketball coach, not at Kentucky, was making $1 million or $2 million a year.
Right.
And now these guys are making $8 million, $10 million at places that are not Kentucky. That you talk about wildest dreams. Coaches in their wildest dreams didn't think they would make that kind of money in the SEC unless they were coaching in Kentucky.
Ryan, I know you follow Alabama also, and they ended up with a number 2 seed. Thought they might be a number 1. How do you feel like they're playing right now?
Well, their last game, the last time you saw them, they played Florida, which, Bubba, as you know, a lot of people think Florida is probably the best team in the nation.
They're hot right now, no doubt.
They're red hot. When I talked about the last 10 going in, Florida would have checked that box because they have been fantastic going into this tournament. They kind of walked through the SEC tournament, which surprised a lot of people. But Alabama's last time out was against Florida, and Florida ran them out of the gym up in Nashville. But prior to that, they had run Kentucky out of the gym, which is a 3 seed. I mean, that's saying something. And if you've ever been to an SEC tournament, especially in Nashville, it's a Kentucky home game. They take the arena over. And Alabama just ran them out of Bridgestone Arena. And prior to that, they beat Auburn at Auburn, which is maybe the toughest place in the nation to play.
And that wasn't a close game either.
I mean, I'm just, it was those are 2 impressive wins, going into that game against Florida. So I do think Alabama's playing well enough going into this game. They had a chance to get a 1 seed. I think had they beaten Florida in Nashville, they might have gotten that 1 seed, but they lost and ended up with the 2. And they're in Duke's bracket. So, they've got their work cut out for them, obviously. But I think this Alabama team's playing pretty well. Mark Sears, who is Alabama's All-American guard, has not been shooting very well from the outside. He's probably the best three-point shooter in Alabama history.
Yeah.
But he has struggled a little bit over the last few games. So if they could get him back going, this team could definitely go deep in this tournament, no doubt.
How good is Duke?
Well, they're really good, but, they're largely untested. And this is so strange to say for people like you and me that grew up when we grew up. The ACC is just not very good this year. North Carolina, who's normally one of the powers in college basketball, was a very middle-of-the-pack team, the last team in the NCAA tournament. Had to go to Dayton to play in the play-in game. Virginia, who's been a big ACC power, their coach, Tony Bennett, retired right before the season. They were not very good. NC State had to fire their coach after a Final Four run last year. He gets fired this year. It has not been a very good year in the ACC. So Duke has played just a ton of games where they've beaten teams by 20 or 30 points. And you do wonder how tested they've been. Now, they've got Cooper Flagg, who's coming off an injury in his conference tournament, but he appears like he's going to be, okay to play in the NCAA tournament. He and Janai Broome at Auburn are largely considered to be the 2 best players in America.
Right.
So they got a really good player. But I think the concern, Bubba, you would have about Duke in, say, comparison to Alabama or Auburn or Florida or Tennessee is those teams have been through a meat grinder in the SEC. Duke has barely played a close game in the ACC, and you just wonder how that impacts them if they get in some close games, which they very likely will in this tournament. Almost any team, no matter how great they are, plays a close game or 2 in the NCAA tournament, even if they win them all.
Was Duke's biggest win defeating Auburn early in the year on their home court?
Yep, it absolutely was. I mean, that's the best team Duke played all year. Now, it was at home, obviously. But, yeah, that was the best team Duke played all year, and that is their most impressive win. And that was a very good game. In fact, you look back on it now, it might have been the best they played all year because Auburn did not play poorly in that game. They accounted for themselves well in a tough place to play at Cameron Indoors. So Yeah, you go back and think about what you just said right there. That's their biggest win of the year, and that was all the way back in, December?
Yeah, early in the year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, early in the season. So, since then, they just really haven't played a game that comes anywhere close to matching up to that.
Ryan, give me a couple of your dark horses here. Who's some people that, normally doesn't look like they will make it out of their first or second round game that could be dangerous?
Well, if you want a couple deep dark horses, let me give you some teams that have a big number next to their name that might could pull an upset.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Go to the bank with this. Go to the bank.
Here's a very popular upset pick, and let me give you a little history, not history. Well, I guess some history behind this. If you watch the NCAA tournament, almost every year it feels like the first set of games. There'll be 4 games on Thursday. There's almost always a significant upset in that set of games. Well, when you look at the games that are going to be played, one of them is right there in Auburn's bracket, Louisville and Creighton up in Lexington. That's like, Louisville's favored by like 2.5 points in that game. So there's no significant upset there. There's a couple of other ones where there's a really big point spread. So it's hard to believe. The one that's a small enough point spread that you could see an upset happening would be High Point beating Purdue. High Point's a 13 seed. Purdue's a 4 seed. Purdue has a history of early exits in this tournament. And in fact, right above them, there's another one that a lot of people think could be an upset. Number 12 seed McNeese State is playing 5 seed Clemson. An interesting storyline there. Will Wade, the former LSU coach that got fired in a cheating scandal, is now the coach at McNeese. And it looks like he's about to be the coach at NC State. So he's just coaching his time out here at McNeese before he takes the NC State job. But a lot of people think that'll be an upset. And I'll give you one more. This is in Florida's bracket. The 6-11 game there, Drake is an 11 seed. They play 6 seed in Missouri out of the Southeastern Conference. And Drake is one of the best defensive teams in America. And they're one of the rarities that you get is they've got a group of guys that have been together for 3, 4, 5 years and have played a lot of basketball together. They're not NBA guys, so they've just stuck in the college game, and they got a ton of games together. So it's a veteran team that plays really, really good defense. So I would say 11 seed Drake, 13 seed High Point, 12 seed McNeese would be some places to look.
All right, folks, you heard it there. If your stocks are down, you know where to put the money if you want to make it back real quick. We're talking to Ryan Brown from the next round. Ryan, thank you for joining us. Very insightful and entertaining. I want to have you back during the tournament if you have time.
Anytime.
Well, this is a lot of fun, and we do get to visit a little bit off the air sometimes. So it's fun to get to actually do this and put it out there and publish it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'll talk sports with you anytime. I can't be as good as Dunaway Sports and in short, but I'll do my best.
Oh, that was a legendary time, wasn't it? All right, Ryan, thank you for joining us. We'll check back in with you. All right, folks, you heard how to mark your brackets up there. And by the way, at BubbaOnTheLake.com, we do have a bracket competition. You can win a little money, I should say merchandise, if you're the winner of our contest. So just go there and read up on all the rules and what we're doing, and we'd like to have you a part of that. Ryan, thank you, and we will be in touch, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Bubba on the Lake.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We'll be right back.
Attention business owners, print buyers, and production managers. Guaranteed Labels is here to help you focus less on your printing, labels, and decals, and more on growing your business. Guaranteed Labels, your dependable printer for all types of industries. Quality, on-time shipments, and stock programs set us apart. If you're needing to focus less on your printing and more on your business, trust Guaranteed Labels. 800-741-7055 or GuaranteedLabels.com. Guaranteed Labels, still sticking since 1988.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
Welcome back. Well, folks, I hope you have enjoyed Bubba on the Lake episode number 3. We appreciate your support. We love the email we're getting. Keep those cards and letters coming, as they used to say. And we're going to have an email segment here on the podcast in the very near future. Be sure to check our website, bubbaonthelake.com. We've got a lot of things going up almost every day. We've got a contest. We're going to tell you more about our Bubba's Contest Hall of Fame, and we have a lot of other details going up there. So be sure to check that and check it regularly and see all the things that are happening. And we appreciate your support. Without you, it does not happen. See you next time we sail into port.
You're listening to Bubba on the Lake.
Hit me bad.
A production of Intergalactic Pants and Tees.
All rights reserved.
This podcast is brought to you in part by Coke, First, Buffalo Wild Wings, Southern Immediate Care, Central State Bank, and Guaranteed Labels.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.